Alright, chapter 51 is where the story drops the moment everyone thought was impossible. A spirit sea expert dies, and the one who kills him? A 16-year-old kid still in the 8-gate stage. Yeah, this chapter is basically the moment the entire battlefield realizes Qin Chen is not just dangerous, he is terrifying. The scene opened right where the last chapter ended. King Yuan, the city lord of Qingfeng City and a first-level spirit sea cultivator, has already launched his attack. His technique, the Azure Spirit Fist Palm art, is a proper spirit technique. One fist, one palm, both striking at the same time. Most fighters cannot even react properly because the attacks explode together from two directions. And King Yuan uses it immediately. That alone shows something important. He is not underestimating Qin Chen anymore. But Qin Chen, he just smiles. Because the moment King Yuan activates that technique, Qin Chen already understands exactly how it works. After all, someone who lived 9 lifetimes as an emperor-level figure does not panic when he sees a basic spirit technique. Instead, Qin Chen comments on it like a teacher grading homework. He says that splitting power between fist and palm looks impressive, but the more complicated a technique is, the harder it is to control. Most cultivators cannot truly use both attacks perfectly at the same time. And King Yuan trying to show off this technique in front of him? That's basically a fake Lai Kui meeting the real Lai Kui. Meaning someone pretending to be the real deal just ran into the original master. Then Qin Chen says something even wilder. If you want to see what real fist and palm coordination looks like, I'll show you. And suddenly his fighting style changes. His left hand begins moving in palm techniques based on the Tiger Roar Dragon chant fists. 4 moves that originally belonged to the tiger side of the technique transform into palm strikes. Meanwhile, his right hand continues using the dragon side of the technique with fists. Left tiger, right dragon. One side fierce and explosive like a king of beasts. The other fluid and flowing like a dragon swimming through the sky. When both combine, Qin Chen's entire presence changes. He no longer looks like a young fighter. He looks like a martial arts grandmaster performing a perfected technique. Even Huang Yu's watching from the side is shocked, because he recognizes what this means. This is the true essence of the Tiger Roar Dragon chant fist, the lost ultimate meaning of the technique. According to legends, this body training method was created long ago by a legendary figure known as the 9 Great Emperor. It was designed specifically to help 9-gate cultivators open their gates and reach the Spirit Sea realm faster. But the complete meaning of that technique was supposed to be lost. And yet Qin Chen not only knows it, he can use it perfectly, which makes Huang Yu suddenly realize something terrifying. This kid's background is definitely not simple, but by now the fight has already begun. King Yuan, completely enraged by Qin Chen's attitude, launches his full attack. His fist and palm crash forward simultaneously with explosive spiritual power. The collision shakes the entire area outside the Qin residence. Dust explodes into the air. The ground cracks. Everyone watching holds their breath. Because this is a clash between an 8-gate cultivator and a spirit sea expert, there should only be one outcome. Then suddenly someone slides backward across the ground. It is Qin Chen. His feet scrape across the stone as he retreats several meters. His white robe is torn and covered with dust and blood. Seeing that scene, the Qin family's hearts sink. Did he lose? After all, the opponent is still a spirit sea cultivator. But Huang Yu's is not celebrating. Instead, his expression slowly changes, because something feels wrong. Then the dust clears. King Yuan is still standing there. For a second it looks like he won. Ling Tian even begins to relax when he sees that. But the next moment everyone notices something horrifying. On King Yuan's chest there are 2 huge holes. One from a fist, one from a palm. Both punch straight through his body. Blood pours down like a broken fountain. And suddenly everyone understands something shocking. The blood covering Qin Chen earlier was not his. It was King Yuan's. A spirit sea expert just died, killed instantly by Qin Chen's combination attack. The battlefield freezes. Even Huang Yu feels his spine go cold, because now the impossible has already happened. A spirit sea cultivator has been killed by someone at the 8-gate stage. King Yuan collapses to the ground. Just like that. Qin Chen calmly steps forward and looks at Huang Yu. And the smile on his face right now, it is worse than the smile of death itself. So you are Huang Yu, right? City Lord of Northern Wastes City? At that moment Huang Yu finally understands something. If he continues fighting he might die too. So he does something nobody expected. He raises his hand and says he is withdrawing. He tells Ling Tian he does not want any share of the profits anymore. Whatever happens in Lingyun City is now their own problem. In other words, he is running, and everyone watching is stunned. A spirit sea expert is retreating from a fight against an 8-gate youth, but Qin Chen just laughs. Sorry, too late. And before Huang Yuz can react, Qin Chen charges forward again. Fist and palm attack together just like before. Huang Yuz panics and launches another technique, the Earth Seal of the Home Ming technique. The seal crashes into the ground and surges toward Qin Chen from below, but Qin Chen just smirks. Nice technique. Too bad you use it terribly. Then he pulls out the small wooden stick again. He slams it into the ground. Hi! And instantly the Earth Seal collapses. It is like a martial artist whose life gate has suddenly been struck. The entire technique loses control and shatters. At that moment Huang Yuz feels something he has not felt in years. Fear. Real fear. Because now he realizes that fighting Qin Chen is like fighting someone who knows every weakness in the world. And this battle is far from over. Alright, chapter 52 starts with one simple fact. Huang Yuz just got defeated. A spirit sea expert beaten so badly he cannot continue fighting. And the entire battlefield freezes. Because of King Yuan dying earlier shocked everyone, this moment completely breaks their understanding of power. Two spirit sea cultivators came to suppress the Qin family. One died, the other got crushed and forced to retreat. And the person who did it, still Qin Chen, still only at the 8-gate stage. At this point the morale of the three great clans is basically collapsing. Earlier they had the advantage in numbers, but battles are decided by leaders. Once the strongest fighters start losing, the soldiers underneath immediately lose their courage. So the Qin family warriors suddenly turn into absolute monsters. They charge forward like starving wolves. The guards of the Ling, Lin, and Chu families begin falling back one after another. Because nobody wants to fight on a battlefield where the final boss is a teenager who just killed spirit sea cultivators. Meanwhile on the high-level battlefield, Ling Shichang, Chu Shanhai, and Lin Jianchen are all staring at Qin Chen with pale faces. Their original plan was perfect. 3 great clans, 2 spirit sea reinforcements, overwhelming numbers. The Qin family should have been erased today, but Qin Chen ruined everything. At this moment, Qin Chen stands there calmly with both arms raised above his head. Above him still hangs the massive heavenly seal attack Huang Yuz used earlier. But Qin Chen isn't just blocking it. He's doing something insane. He's absorbing it. The power of the heavenly seal crashes down like a storm, yet Qin Chen stands there like a small boat anchored in the middle of the ocean. The waves smash against him again and again, but instead of sinking, he uses that force to strengthen himself. King Yuanchen and King Qingsheng quickly notice what's happening. They exchange a shocked look. Is he using the heavenly seal's power to temper his body? That guess sounds crazy, but it is exactly what Qin Chen is doing. The Gale Spirit Body technique allows him to absorb part of the attack's force and refine his physical body with it. And Qin Chen is hoping to use this opportunity to break through from 8-gate into 9-gate heaven gate. So while everyone else is fighting, Qin Chen is literally training in the middle of the battlefield. The disrespect level is insane. Of course, the 3 patriarchs realize this too. Ling Shicheng's face turns dark. If Qin Chen breaks through right now, the situation will become even worse. So the 3 of them immediately retreat a short distance and stare at Qin Chen carefully. But just when they are hesitating, Chu Shanhai suddenly shouts something. Now, because the 3 great clans still have one final card left, they immediately turn toward Chu Shanhai, and Chu Shanhai roars toward the distance. Brother Wan, please help. The moment those words echo across the battlefield, whoosh, a black figure suddenly appears like a shadow. The man wears a black robe. His movements are incredibly fast. Before anyone can react, he has already rushed straight toward Qin Chen. Seeing that scene, Qin Qingsheng and Qin Yuanchen both turn pale, because they instantly feel the terrifying pressure coming from that person. This man is far stronger than the previous spirit sea cultivators. Without hesitation, both brothers leap forward to block him. But the black-robed man only laughs. 2 9-gate cultivators, and you dare block me? His palm strikes out. 2 heavy sounds explode. Qin Qingsheng and Qin Yuanchen both spit blood as they are blasted backward, crashing to the ground. One strike, both of them defeated instantly. The Qin family members watching nearby immediately panic, because that means only one thing. The newcomer is far stronger than anyone who appeared earlier. At least Spirit Sea 3rd level. At this moment, the black-robed man doesn't even bother looking at the fallen Qin elders. His target is only Qin Chen. He rushes straight forward, hand reaching out like he wants to crush Qin Chen's head instantly. Qin Qingsheng struggles to get up and shouts desperately, "Shatter, run!" But Qin Chen does not run. Instead, he slowly lowers his arms and turns to look at the approaching black-robed man. His expression is calm, almost bored, because to Qin Chen, this situation is simply another problem to solve. The black-robed man laughs loudly as he approaches. Chu Shanhai finally breathes in relief, because this person is their real trump card. Wan Chenjiang, leader of the Changshan Alliance from Changshan County, a famous expert within a 1,000-mile radius. Spirit C 3rd level cultivation. Compared to him, Wang Yu's and King Yuan were nothing more than appetizers. Wan Chensheng says loudly that he only agreed to help because Chu Shanhai's daughter had caught the attention of the Heavenly God Academy. But the price is simple. 70% of all benefits gained from destroying the Qin family will belong to him. Chu Shanhai's face looks painful, but he still agrees, because at this point they have no other choice. If Wan Chengsheng doesn't act, it might actually lose. Meanwhile, Wan Chengsheng continues flying toward Qin Chen like a predator approaching prey. To him, this battle is already decided. After all, a Spirit C 3rd level expert versus an 8-gate kid? That should not even count as a fight. But right when he is about to strike, Qin Chen suddenly raises his head and says one sentence. Another one came to die? The entire battlefield falls silent again. Even Wan Chengsheng pauses slightly, because the confidence in Qin Chen's voice is completely real. Not fear, not panic, just annoyance. Like someone who keeps getting interrupted while working. And that moment right there is where the chapter ends, because the battlefield has now reached a new level. 2 Spirit C experts already lost. Now a 3rd level Spirit C powerhouse has arrived. But Qin Chen, still standing, still calm, still ready to fight. Which leaves everyone with one terrifying question. If even Spirit C experts keep falling in front of Qin Chen, what exactly is the limit of his strength? Alright, chapter 53 is where the battlefield officially stops making sense. Because at this point, Qin Chen isn't just beating people anymore. He's humiliating them. The moment Wan Chengsheng appears, everyone on the battlefield immediately understands the danger. This is not the same level as the Spirit C experts who showed up earlier. Wan Chengsheng is a 3rd level Spirit C cultivator, a well-known powerhouse from Changshan County. His name alone is enough to make smaller cities panic. And now he's here. His target? Qin Chen. Wan Chengsheng laughs loudly and tells Qin Chen that he already figured out the boy's strength. At most, Qin Chen is equivalent to a 1st level Spirit C cultivator, which means killing him should be as easy as flipping a hand. Then he attacks. His fingers curl into claws and he unleashes the Yin Wind Claw, a signature technique from the Yin killing art. The moment the claw attack appears, the surrounding air turns cold and sharp like invisible blades slicing through the wind. Even King Sheng's face changes instantly, because he recognizes the technique. That move is Wan Chengsheng's famous killing technique. In his mind, the result is already clear. Qin Chen is finished. Ling Tian even starts celebrating early. With Wan Chengsheng acting, the 3 great clans might finally survive this nightmare. But Qin Chen, he just sighs. Then he says one simple sentence. Zio can't kill him. For a second, nobody understands what he means. Then suddenly, a green shadow flashes forward. A loud explosion echoes across the battlefield. Wan Chengsheng's sleeve bursts apart as his entire body is blasted backward through the air. And everyone freezes, because the thing that just kicked a 3rd level Spirit C expert is a small green ox. Yes, a cow, not a legendary spirit beast, not some ancient monster, just a green farm ox that farmers normally use to plow fields. At least, that's what it looks like. One guard nearby even blurts out in disbelief that he must be seeing things. Another mutters that maybe the Spirit C expert is fake. Because how else do you explain a cow kicking him across the battlefield? Even Ling Shichang, Chu Shanhai, and Lin Jianshan are completely stunned. Their brains simply refuse to process what just happened. Meanwhile, Qin Chen looks slightly annoyed. Taiyao King, I told you to kill him. The little green ox snorts unhappily like it's being scolded. Qin Chen sighs. Alright, I get it. Come here. The ox trots over obediently and Qin Chen pats its head. At that moment, a strange mark begins glowing inside Qin Chen's palm. Suddenly, Zio King's eyes flash with pain, but Qin Chen gently strokes its fur to calm it down. Then he explains the situation like someone casually adjusting a machine. Zio King hasn't fully matured yet. Right now, it can only unlock part of the seal he placed on it earlier, but that partial release is enough to push its strength up to around 5th level Spirit C, which is more than enough to stomp Wan Chengsheng. Hearing this, Zio King snorts proudly, but Qin Chen immediately scolds it again. Don't get greedy. You think you can reach 9th level Spirit C like your ancestors? Dream on. The little ox instantly looks like it's about to cry. Qin Chen shakes his head helplessly. Honestly, sometimes it feels like the ox is the boss and he's the servant. Then he waves his hand. Suddenly more than 10 pills appear in his palm. Instantly everyone nearby gasps. Because those pills are spirit pills. First grade spirit pills. Condensing pill. Smooth heart pill. Jade body pill. Every single one of them is a precious spiritual medicine. In Ling Tian City, even a single spirit pill costs at least 1,000,000 silver coins and can't easily be bought. But Qin Chen, he casually tosses more than 10 of them, straight into Xiao King's mouth. The little ox chews happily like it just found the world's greatest snack. People watching nearly cough blood. They would kill for one spirit pill, and Qin Chen is feeding them to a cow like candy. After finishing the pills, Xiao King flicks its tail happily. Then it slowly turns around, facing Wan Chengsheng. Wan Chengsheng is furious. He, a powerful spirit sea expert, was just kicked away by livestock. He shouts angrily and prepares to attack again, but Xiao King doesn't wait. It suddenly charges forward. Its back legs kick out with terrifying force. Wan Chengsheng tries to block with both arms. Too late. The impact launches him backward like a cannonball. Walls collapse behind him as he crashes through multiple buildings before finally stopping. Everyone watching swallows nervously, because that kick would instantly kill most fighters on this battlefield. A third-level spirit sea expert is literally being chased by a cow. Ling Shichang, Chu Shanai, and Lin Jianshan stand there completely stunned. Their ultimate trump card is being bullied by livestock. At that moment, Qin Chen slowly lowers his hands. The heavenly seal above him finally dissolves. He stretches his arms calmly. Although he didn't break through to the 9-gate stage yet, his body has become even stronger after absorbing the heavenly seal's power. His cultivation foundation is now completely stabilized. Then Qin Chen looks toward the 3 patriarchs and smiles. Enjoying the show, the 3 of them immediately feel cold sweat running down their backs, because now Qin Chen's attention has shifted back to them. Xiao Shanhai suddenly panics and starts threatening Qin Chen. He reminds Qin Chen that his daughter Chu Ningfei has already entered the Heavenly God Academy in the Imperial Capital. Soon she will reach the Spirit Sea Realm. If Qin Chen dares to touch the Chu family, but Qin Chen interrupts him immediately. Devet! Right then a scream echoes behind them. Wan Chengsheng is thrown back across the battlefield again. This time he lands directly in front of Qin Chen. Xiao King quickly follows behind him and plants both hooves on his chest. Now the once arrogant Spirit Sea expert is pinned to the ground by a green ox with no strength left to resist, and the entire battlefield falls silent, because nobody expected the most terrifying fighter of this battle to be a cow. Alright, chapter 54 is basically the moment the war ends and Qin Chen cleans the entire board. Wan Chengsheng, the so-called third-level Spirit Sea powerhouse who arrived like a final boss, is now lying on the ground like a broken rag doll. A moment ago he was talking big, threatening Qin Chen, demanding 70% of the spoils. Now, he is begging. Wan Chengsheng forces out an awkward smile and promises that if Qin Chen spares him, the Changshan Alliance will never pursue this matter again. Basically the classic villain line. Let me go and we'll forget everything. Qin Chen doesn't even look at him. Instead, he simply waves his hand and the small wooden stick flies back into his palm. Then he calmly says something that hits harder than any punch. Do you think you're qualified to negotiate with me? That line alone already decides Wan Chengchen's fate. Qin Chen doesn't waste another second. The wooden stick flashes forward. Blood sprays. The stick pierces straight through Wan Chengsheng's back. Just like that, the third-level Spirit Sea expert dies. Another powerhouse erased. But Qin Chen still hasn't finished, because now he turns his attention toward the 3 people who started everything. Ling Shishang, Chu Shanhai, Lin Tian, the 3 patriarchs of the great clans who orchestrated the destruction of the Qin family. Qin Chen's gaze lands first on Chu Shanhai. Earlier, Chu Shanhai tried threatening him with his daughter Chu Ningfei, saying she had already entered the Heavenly God Academy in the Imperial Capital and would soon reach the Spirit Sea realm. But Qin Chen cuts that nonsense immediately. He says even if Chu Ningfei reaches 3rd-level Spirit Sea, he will still kill her. That line completely crushes Chu Shanhai's last hope, because he suddenly realizes something. Qin Chen isn't bluffing. He actually believes it. And the terrifying part is after everything that just happened, nobody doubts him anymore. Regret appears in Chu Shanhai's eyes. Back then, when Ling Shichang proposed the alliance to deal with the Qin family, Chu Shanhai agreed almost instantly. He thought it would be easy. He thought Qin Chen had already lost his star gate and could never rise again. But now, he finally understands the mistake. Even without a star gate, Qin Chen's future will still surpass Ling Tian. But regret is useless now. Because Qin Chen moves, the wooden stick flashes. Chu Shanhai doesn't even have time to react. The stick pierces straight through his chest. Blood explodes outward. A 9-gate cultivator killed instantly. Seeing this scene, Ling Shicheng and Lin Jianshan completely panic. Their courage has already collapsed. The battlefield is already lost. Their reinforcements are dead, their soldiers are retreating, and Qin Chen is hunting them personally. Ling Shicheng roars that his son Ling Tian will avenge him and destroy the Qin family one day. But Qin Chen just answers calmly, "Your son? Don't worry. I already promised to send him down to meet you. I never break my promises." The next second Qin Chen disappears. His speed is so fast that nobody can even see the movement clearly. Two sounds explode almost simultaneously. Two heads fly into the air. Ling Shishang, Lin Jianshan. Just like that, the leaders of the 3 great clans all fall. The moment their deaths become clear, the remaining soldiers from those clans completely collapse. Without leadership, they cannot organize resistance anymore. And at this moment, Qin Chen gives the final order. All core members of the Ling, Chu, Lin, and Shen families kill them. No mercy. As for the hired guards and outside warriors, they are free to leave if they wish. This command sounds brutal, but Qin Qingsheng and Qin Yuanshan both nod immediately, because leaving the core members alive would only plant future disasters. Sometimes mercy is just another name for stupidity. So the Qin family warriors charge forward like wolves. The remaining elites of the 4 families are wiped out one by one. Meanwhile, Qin Chen looks completely relaxed. The war is already over. He turns toward his father and second uncle and takes out 2 pills. 9 revolutions jade gold pills. He hands one to each of them. Qin Qingsheng is stunned. He has never even heard of this pill before. But according to Qin Chen, this pill can help a 9-gate cultivator break through to the Spirit Sea realm within a month. Not only that, it will also accelerate their cultivation after reaching Spirit Sea. In other words, these pills are priceless treasures. Qin Qingsheng asks where Qin Chen got so many incredible pills. And Qin Chen gives a calm answer. The trip to the Lingyun Mountains was arranged by that mysterious emperor figure behind him. Inside the mountains, he discovered a hidden treasure vault. And those pills? They're just a small part of what he found. Hearing that explanation, Qin Qingsheng and Qin Yuanshan are completely stunned. A treasure vault. That means Qin Chen now possesses an enormous fortune. But Qin Chen isn't interested in bragging about it. Instead, he immediately starts planning the next steps. First, seal the 4 gates of Lingyun City. Nobody from the 4 defeated clans can escape. Second, confiscate all their property. And just like that, the Qin family begins their cleanup operation. Elders are assigned to guard each city gate. Warriors are sent out to hunt down remaining clan members. The entire city of Lingyun enters a new era overnight. The 4 great clans are gone. Only the Qin family remains. But Qin Chen himself doesn't bother participating in the looting. He pushes the job to Qin Hai instead. After all, Qin Hai just recovered and needs to regain his strength. Plus, Qin Chen finally has a rare moment of peace. So he whistles casually and calls Zio King. The green ox happily trots beside him as they leave the battlefield. Behind them, the Qin family members are already shouting in celebration, because today Lingyun City changed forever. But far away, in the imperial capital, 2 names still remain unresolved. Ling Tian, Xu Ningfei, and Qin Chen already made one thing very clear. Sooner or later, they will follow the others. Alright, chapter 55 opens with the Qin family thinking the worst storm is finally over. The war in Lingyun City is finished. The 4 great clans have collapsed. Their patriarchs are dead, and the Qin family now stands as the undisputed ruler of the city. But just when Qin Qingsheng finally thinks he can breathe again, another disaster arrives. A Qin family guard rushes in urgently and reports that something happened. And the moment Qin Qingsheng hears the words "something happened," his heart sinks. At first, he thinks the worst possible thing. Did Qin Hai and Qin Chen get ambushed? But the guard quickly shakes his head. It's not the second young master. It's not the third young master. It's the eldest son, Qin Shem. The guard raises his hand and activates a communication spirit talisman. A projection of light appears in the air, and inside it stands a fiery red-haired old man wearing a crimson robe. This man is Lai Huo Patriarch, a powerful elder from the Heavenly God Academy. And more importantly, he is Qin Shan's master. The moment Qin Qingsheng sees him, his expression changes immediately. Lai Huo Patriarch explains the situation. Recently, the inner court of Heavenly God Academy organized a training trial for its disciples. Qin Shan participated, but during the trial, something terrible happened. Qin Shan suffered a devastating attack. The result? All 5 of his spirit seas were shattered. The moment those words are spoken, Qin Qingsheng almost collapses. 5 spirit seeds destroyed. For a spirit sea cultivator, this is worse than death. Normally, a martial artist at the spirit sea realm condenses up to 9 spirit seas. These spiritual cores gather energy and sustain the body, but once those spirit seas are destroyed, the warrior can no longer absorb spiritual energy. Without spiritual energy nourishing the body slowly begins to weaken. Muscles deteriorate, vitality fades, and eventually the person grows old rapidly and dies, unless rare spirit pills constantly support the body. In other words, Qin Chan's future as a martial artist is basically destroyed. Li Huo patriarch sighs and apologizes. He admits that Qin Chen is his personal disciple and that this accident is partly his responsibility. To make up for it, he sends 2 academy admission tokens. With these tokens, 2 geniuses from the Qin family can directly enter the outer court of Heavenly God Academy. And more importantly, they can take care of Qin Chen there. Li Huo Patriarch also promises he will do everything possible to help Qin Chen reconstruct his spirit seas. But everyone present understands the truth. Rebuilding shattered spirit seas is extremely difficult, even for Heavenly God Academy. The projection disappears. The 2 academy tokens fall into Qin Chen's hands. For a long moment he cannot speak. Qin Yuanshan quickly steps forward. He frowns and says something strange about this whole situation. Before Qin Chen entered Heavenly God Academy, he trained under Li Huo Patriarch for years without incident. But now right after Ling Tian arrived at the academy, Qin Chen suddenly suffers such a devastating injury. The implication is obvious. This might not be an accident. It might be revenge. Qin Chen clenches his fists. At that moment, he wants nothing more than to rush to the imperial capital immediately. But there is no time to think further. He orders someone to summon Qin Hai and Qin Chen immediately, because this is a matter the entire Qin family must discuss. Meanwhile, inside Lingyang City, Qin Chen and Qin Hai are already busy with the aftermath of the war. They are currently inside the Ling family mansion. The once proud residence is now in chaos. Servants run everywhere in panic as Qin family guards sweep through the place searching every corner. Qin Hai raises his hand and orders the guards to begin a full search. Nothing is to be missed. Soon one guard returns with a report. They could not find Ling Feifei, Ling Tian's younger sister. Qin Chen shrugs. She probably ran away already. Most likely she went to the imperial capital to join Ling Tian. And honestly, it just saves Qin Chen the trouble of hunting her down later. The guards continue searching the mansion. Eventually they report their findings. 97 kinds of medicinal pills, more than 4,000 pills total, and 74 million silver coins. The guard delivering the report looks extremely excited, but Qin Chen frowns instead. The Ling family ruled Lingyang City for years. Their wealth should be far greater than this. Something doesn't add up. So Qin Chen begins walking through the mansion carefully. He observes every detail. Finally, he stops in front of one particular room. The guards explain that this room belonged to Ling Tian. Qin Chen smiles. Then this must be the place. He enters the room. Everything inside is clean and orderly. Clearly someone continued maintaining the room after Ling Tian left for the academy. The guards say they already searched here and found nothing, but Qin Chen shakes his head. Of course you didn't, because this room contains a spirit array. The guards immediately look confused. Spirit arrays are created by special cultivators called spirit formation masters. They use spiritual seals to manipulate the natural spiritual energy of the world and create various effects. These formations can hide treasures, create traps, or gather energy, and they are extremely rare. In some situations, a spirit formation master is even more valuable than a pill master. Qin Chen walks to the center of the room and raises both hands. 2 spiritual seals appear in his palms. The seals slowly float through the air, searching the space around the room. A moment later, a humming sound echoes. Suddenly, the large bed in the center of the room begins to rise slowly. A hidden staircase appears underneath it. Qin Chen smiles. Looks like Ling Tian hid something interesting here. He turns toward the guards. Go down. Let's see what secrets Ling Tian left behind. Alright, chapter 56 starts with Qin Chen proving once again that when it comes to hidden treasures, this man really does move like he already has the map downloaded in his soul. Inside Ling Tian's room, the Qin family guards have already searched everything they can see. Drawers, cabinets, shelves, floorboards, nothing special. And then one guard comes running back up from the secret passage under the bed, eyes shining like he just found the jackpot. He says the treasures hidden below are worth more than 10 times everything above. At that point, Qin Hai and Qin Zinhen are basically done asking how Qin Chen keeps knowing these things. Because seriously, at this stage, what does this guy not know? The guards start hauling items up in waves, and one of them steps forward holding a small crystal the size of a thumb. It looks simple, but the aura coming from it is pure, dense, and ridiculously rich. Qin Chen takes one glance and names it immediately. Spirit Stone. The moment those two words drop, everybody nearby stops breathing for a second. Because in Ling Tian City, most people have only heard of spirit stones in stories. They know what they are. They know how terrifyingly valuable they are. But actually seeing one, that is different. A spirit stone is basically cultivation on easy mode. Instead of painfully absorbing spiritual energy from heaven and earth bit by bit, a martial artist can directly absorb the purified energy stored inside the stone. And not just any energy. Clear energy, clean energy, top-shelf cultivation fuel. The guards around him are staring so hard they look like they want to marry the crystal. Qin Chen, meanwhile, acts like somebody just handed him a slightly above average snack. He casually says it is only a low-grade spirit stone. Only, that word alone almost makes Qin Hai and Qin Zinhen want to kick him. Because even a low-grade spirit stone would be enough for a 9-gate martial artist to cultivate for a very long time. In a place like Ling Tian City, that is not just wealth. That is straight-up clan-changing wealth. So they ask the obvious question, how many are down there? The answer comes back, about 100. And just like that, the Qin family accidentally stumbles into generational wealth. Qin Chen immediately orders everything to be brought back and handed over to his father. Now this is where you really feel how absurd the cleanup phase has become. The Qin family did not just defeat the 4 great clans. They are now vacuuming up enough resources to make the whole family stronger for years. Qin Chen even mutters that this is finally starting to feel worthwhile. And with that, they prepare to move on to the next mansion. But the moment they step outside, the rain finally starts. Not some cute little drizzle either. A real downpour. Of it. What? Sheets of water everywhere. Qin Chen suddenly stops moving. For a while he just stands there in the rain without saying anything. And this scene hits different, because more than a month ago, on another rainy night, it was inside the same Ling mansion that his star gate was stolen. That night he fought back with everything he had and it changed nothing. Back then he was powerless. Back then he was the one being crushed. But now, the Ling family is finished. Their mansion is being emptied by Qin family guards, and Qin Chen stands right there in the rain like someone who has finally closed a chapter of his life. Qin Zinhen notices the mood immediately and almost says something, but Qin Hai stops him. Don't disturb him. Anyone who went through such earth-shaking changes would feel something at a moment like this. And Qin Hai is right, because this is not just revenge. This is reclamation. This is Qin Chen standing in the ruins of the people who thought they ended him and silently proving they failed. Then suddenly the quiet mood breaks. There is noise near the main gate of the Ling mansion. Bias, shouting, the sound of fighting. Qin Hai quickly heads over to see what is happening while Qin Zinhen stays behind, still watching Qin Chen in the rain. And as Qin Zinhen watches him, one thought keeps pounding in his head. Brother Chen is really about to break through again, because right now, something about Qin Chen's presence feels sharper, more stable, more complete. It is like standing near the edge of another breakthrough. 1 month ago this guy was at the 4-gate stage. Now he is already brushing against 9-gate. That kind of speed is not cultivation anymore. That is straight up destiny on turbo mode. Meanwhile at the gate, things are getting messy. Several Qin family guards are already on the ground, and standing in front of the entrance are a few young men in rain cloaks holding swords. 2 of them are clearly the leaders, and they are acting like complete clowns. One of them mocks the local people for not even recognizing their names. The other jokes back that the whole city is just countryside trash anyway. Peak arrogant rich kid behavior. Qin Hai steps forward and demands an explanation. One of the guards says these people claimed they were traveling, got caught in the rain, and wanted to stay at the mansion for the night, which would sound almost reasonable if they had not already beaten up several people on the way in. Qin Hai calmly tells them this estate has already been taken over by the Qin family. If they want shelter, they can find an inn somewhere else in Ling Tian City. That should have ended it. Of course it does not. The guy named Zhu Shenming immediately gets hostile and says Qin Hai is refusing a favor he should be grateful for. Then the long-faced one, Wanged Qi, starts talking too. He boasts that they are disciples from the Heavenly God Academy and says that if the Qin family welcomes them properly, they might even help the family rise further. And if not, then the Qin family might not continue existing. These clowns walked into a city that just went through a family extermination war and decided this was the perfect moment to act important. That is an incredible lack of survival instinct. Then Qin Chen finally walks over. His clothes have already been dried by spiritual energy, and he looks fresh, calm, and mildly amused. He asks Wang Qi a very simple question. And how exactly can you help the Qin family rise further? Wang Qi puffs himself up immediately and introduces himself as young Master Wang Qi of the Wang family in the imperial capital. Qin Chen just stares and says he has never heard of either Wang Qi or whatever Wang family he is talking about. Then, almost casually, he mentions a different name. Wang Yuanyu, do you know him? The moment Wang Qi hears that name, his expression changes completely. He immediately asks if Qin Chen knows where Wang Yuanyu is, because Wang Yuanyu is the son of the Wang family patriarch and has been missing for half a month. At this point, Wang Qi still somehow thinks he is in control of the conversation. He even says that if Qin Chen tells him where Wang Yuanyu is, then today's offense can be forgiven. Forgiven. That word alone is hilarious, because Qin Chen is probably one sentence away from sending this guy to the family reunion section of the afterlife too. So Qin Chen gives him the answer. Wang Yuanyu is in hell. Wang Qi freezes. Qin Chen then calmly adds that Wang Yuanyu really is there because Qin Chen personally sent him down. And just like that, the rain outside the Ling mansion is no longer the most dangerous thing falling tonight. Because the moment Wang Qi realizes who he is standing in front of, this little imperial capital act is about to go very, very badly. Alright, chapter 57 starts with two imperial capital brats walking into Ling Tian's old mansion like they own reality itself. And a lie? Straight disrespect. These guys, Wang Qi and Zhu Shenming, are from major families in the imperial capital. In the northern Ming Empire, the imperial capital is the real center of power. Heavenly God Academy has the biggest name, sure, but the true weight still belongs to the giant families backing the whole empire. And among those big names, the Wang family matters. The Zhu family matters too. So these two young masters have clearly been living life on easy mode for way too long. They were just passing through Lingyuan City, heard that a major clan war had already ended, and immediately thought, wow, free loot. Because obviously that is what clowns do. They figured that if they just flashed the names of the Wang family and the Zhu family, everybody in this little city would bow, smile, offer them a room, a feast, and maybe a treasure chest on the side. Instead, they ran into Qin Chen. Massive mistake. Wang Qi basically shrugs and says if the people here will not welcome them properly, then they can just force their way in and take what they want. To him, the people of Lingyuan City are just frogs at the bottom of a well. And Qin Chen, bro, hears that and is not impressed at all. He steps forward, looks at the two of them, and says something absolutely icy. Even if the heads of your Wang family and Zhu family came here in person, the moment they dared offend the Qin family, I would still kill them. That line is wild. Not the disciples, not the spoiled sons, the clan heads too. At that point, Wang Qi and Zhu Shenming are fully enraged. They genuinely cannot process how this countryside kid is not trembling in front of their names. So they both step forward at the same time, swords in hand, spiritual energy rising. And then the real surprise drops. Both of them are Spirit Sea level fighters. Yo, not weaklings, not trash, real Spirit Sea experts. The Qin family guards immediately tense up, because two more Spirit Sea cultivators just popped out of nowhere in the middle of a rainy cleanup arc. But Qin Chen, he just looks disappointed, like wow, more idiots. The two rush in together, completely sure they are about to teach some village punk a lesson. And Qin Chen just throws one punch. Not it, one punch. He uses the 9th move of the Tiger Roar Dragon Chant Fist, Flying Dragon Long Fist Strike. And instantly a giant dragon-shaped surge of spiritual energy tears out in front of him. Not metaphorically, an actual dragon-shaped force. The ground cracks. The stone floor explodes. The dragon storm slams into Wang Qi and Zhu Shenming so hard their protective spiritual energy shatters on contact. Their bodies are thrown backward into the air, and even the people behind them get blasted away by the shockwave. At this moment, both of them finally realize the truth. Qin Chen is not Spirit Sea level. He is already 9-gate Heaven Gate, which is absolutely insane. Just a month ago, this man was still sitting in a much lower realm, and now he is already crushing Imperial Capital disciples like they are unpaid extras. Even so, Wang Qi and Zhu Shenming still think they can win, because in their minds, 9-gate is still 9-gate, and they are Spirit Sea, different class, different world. So while flying backward, both of them swing their swords and slash straight at Qin Chen's dragon-shaped fist force. And Qin Chen just looks at them like a disappointed teacher grading failed homework. He literally says they will not cut through it. And he is right. The dragon force remained intact. Their swords hit it again and again, but the thing does not break. It keeps coming like a Judgment Day train. Then Qin Chen adds another line that hits even harder. He says that not just the Wang family and Zhu family in the imperial capital, but even those ancient old monster clans from the greater continent would not dare act this arrogantly in front of him. That sentence is so outrageous it loops back around into peak aura. Then he clenches both hands, and it is over. The dragon force crushes down. Bones snap. Bodies implode. The two spirits see young masters and the few followers behind them are reduced into mangled corpses and broken bones, all crashing into the ground like garbage dumped in the rain. Just like that. Imperial capital privilege? The family background? The oudes? Smashed into paste. Qin Hai is standing there watching this unfold and honestly cannot even pretend to be surprised anymore. At this point, his little brother has already done so many impossible things that reality itself has started giving up. Then Qin Chen casually says the most practical thing possible. Search their bodies. There should be good stuff on them. And yep, that is exactly what they do. Qin family guards immediately start looting the corpses while the rain keeps pouring harder and harder. But before they can really settle into the post-murder inventory phase, a Qin family messenger rushes in through the storm. And the second he arrives, the mood shifts. Bad news? Something happened with the eldest brother, Qin Chen. The moment Qin Chen hears that, his hands tighten, because he already suspects the truth. Ling Tian has entered Heavenly God Academy, so if Big Brother suddenly ran into trouble, this probably is not random. They all return to the Qin residence. By now the rain has completely swallowed the city. It feels like the heavens themselves are trying to wash away all the blood spilled in Lingyan City. Inside the main hall, the high-ranking Qin family members are gathered. Qin Sheng explains everything. A long-distance message from the fiery elder arrived. During an inner-court trial at Heavenly God Academy, Qin Chen was critically attacked. All 5 of his spirit seeds were shattered. Yeah, that line lands like a hammer. Because once a spirit seed cultivator loses those spirit seeds, it is not just a cultivation setback. It means the body can no longer properly gather and maintain spiritual energy. Without enough spiritual nourishment, the body starts deteriorating. Slowly, painfully. A warrior who should have risen higher starts withering away instead. The hall instantly fills with rage. The elders are furious. Qin Chen says the timing is too suspicious. Qin Shan trained under Fiery Elder before without incident, but the moment Ling Tian arrived at the academy, disaster struck. Everybody understands the implication. This smells like a setup. This smells like revenge from the capital side. And behind Ling Tian stands someone even more dangerous. A member of the Heavenly Sun faction. A real Star Fate martial warrior. Someone who still has an awakened Stargate. That is not a small threat. That is in-game material. The Fiery Elder also sent 2 outer court entry tokens to Heavenly God Academy, meaning 2 members of the Qin family can enter the academy directly. At first, this sounds like a chance. A way in. A way to support Qin Shan. A way to start moving the real game board. Then Qin Shang hesitates over who should receive the tokens. But Qin Chen does not hesitate at all. Give them to me and second brother. That line catches everyone off guard. Because until now Qin Chen has mostly treated Heavenly God Academy with this whole whatever. I will get there when I get their energy. But this time, different. Because now this is not about school anymore. This is about Big Brother. This is about Ling Tian. This is about settling everything at the source. And the moment Qin Chen says he wants the tokens, the room realizes something huge. The next stage of the story is no longer Lingyan City. The next stage is the Imperial Capital. The real battlefield is coming. And honestly, if Ling Tian thought stealing Qin Chen's Stargate was enough to end the story, bro is about to find out he only unlocked the next boss phase. If you made it this far, yeah, we are officially leaving small city drama and entering Academy Revenge territory, so hit subscribe before Qin Chen brings straight chaos to the Imperial Capital. Alright, chapter 58 is the calm before the Imperial Capital arc begins. But it's also where Qin Chen discovers something both amazing and extremely annoying about his cultivation. And it starts with pure rage. After the meeting ends, Qin Chen leaves the hall and goes straight back to his room. His father can tell immediately that Qin Chen is furious, even though he looks calm on the outside. Because Qin Chen is not just any brother. Growing up, Qin Shang was busy managing the clan most of the time, so it was Qin Shan, the eldest brother, who actually took care of Qin Chen. From childhood until now, Qin Shan was basically half-brother, half-guardian. So hearing that Qin Shan's 5 spirit seas were destroyed, Qin Chen is not letting that slide. He already made the decision in his head. If Ling Tian really had something to do with this, he will kill him. No hesitation, no negotiation, no redemption arc. After calming himself down, Qin Chen finally sits on his bed and begins examining his own body. Because earlier that rainy night, during that quiet moment in the Ling family mansion, something big happened. He broke through from 8 gate to 9 gate heaven gates. Now here's the thing about the 9 gate stage. Inside the human body there are 9 treasure gates. These gates correspond to different parts of the body: the arms, the legs, the internal organs, the neck, the waist, the senses, and finally the heaven gate located between the eyebrows. Once all 9 gates are opened, spiritual energy flows through the entire body smoothly. At that point, the martial artist prepares for the next major realm, Spirit Sea. The moment Spirit Sea forms, the cultivator's body becomes like a reservoir of spiritual energy. But forming that Spirit Sea isn't instant. The first step is something called forming an energy vortex, a small spinning core of spiritual energy. Once that vortex stabilizes, it eventually evolves into a full Spirit Sea. So Qin Chen starts practicing. He raises both hands and begins gathering spiritual energy in his palms. Slowly, the energy spins, condenses, forms a small vortex. Perfect. Except boom, the vortex explodes. Failure. Qin Chen frowns. This should be the easiest step. He's done this transition countless times in previous lives. The method is practically engraved in his mind. So why did it fail? He tries again. Another vortex forms. Another failure. Now Qin Chen is annoyed. After several attempts, the result is always the same. Every vortex collapses. Finally, he starts thinking carefully, and then he realizes something. The problem isn't the technique. The problem is his body, specifically the Tiger Roar Dragon Chant Fist. That technique he's been cultivating non-stop since the beginning has strengthened his body so much that the amount of spiritual energy required to cleanse it has increased dramatically, which means the normal Spirit Sea formation method no longer works. So Qin Chen tries something different. Instead of forming 1 vortex, he forms 2, then 3, then 4. Eventually, the number reaches 9. 9 spinning energy vortices rotating together in his palm. And when he sees that, even Qin Chen almost curses, because now the math becomes terrifying. A normal cultivator forms 1 vortex per gate to build their Spirit Sea. But Qin Chen, he needs 9. And since there are 9 gates in the body, that means 81 vortices total. 81. That means every step of Spirit Sea cultivation will require 9 times the effort of a normal cultivator, 9 times the energy, 9 times the work, 9 times the resources, which honestly sounds like a nightmare. But there is a trade-off. Because if the power inside those Spirit Seas multiplies the same way, then Qin Chen's strength will also be 9 times greater. So after thinking about it for a moment, he just shrugs. Fine, if that's the price for overwhelming power, he'll pay it. From that point on, Qin Chen spends the next several days stabilizing the 9 vortices and practicing controlling them. Meanwhile, Lingyan City is going through its own transformation. The Qin family has officially taken over the city. The 4 great clans are gone. Their wealth, their territories, their resources all absorbed into the Qin family. Occasionally, some remaining troublemakers appear, but every single one of them ends up with the same ending: destroy. No one dares challenge the Qin family anymore. Then one day, a powerful aura suddenly erupts from inside the Qin residence. A wave of spiritual energy shoots into the sky. Everyone inside the mansion instantly feels the pressure. Qin Chen immediately stops cultivating and smiles. Father finally broke through. He walks outside and sees King Qingsheng standing proudly in the courtyard. The spiritual energy surrounding him is completely different from before. Stronger, denser, more stable. Spirit Sea Realm, first level. Around him, the Qin family elders are celebrating excitedly. Because in a city like Lingyan, a Spirit Sea cultivator is basically a king. And now the Qin family finally has won. When Qin Chen approaches, King Qingsheng smiles and says the breakthrough happened thanks to the 9 revolutions jade gold pill Qin Chen gave him earlier. Even now, the medicinal energy from that pill is still flowing through his meridians. Qin Chen simply nods. That's exactly how the pill is supposed to work. Then Qin Chen suddenly says something unexpected. It's time for him to leave. Everyone goes quiet, because they all know what that means. The imperial capital, Heavenly God Academy, and Qin Chen. Before leaving, Qin Chen takes out more than 10 jade bottles and places them on the table. Inside each bottle, spirit pills. Hundreds of them. Over 1,000 pills total. Each bottle labeled carefully with their effects and uses. When Qin Qingsheng sees the number of pills, he's completely shocked. This is enough resources to support the Qin family's growth for years. Qin Chen simply explains that these came from the treasure vault he discovered in the Lingyan Mountains. And honestly for him, this is just the beginning, because the real battlefield is waiting in the imperial capital, Ling Tian, Shu Ningfei, the Heavenly God Academy. And the moment Qin Chen steps into that academy, all the people who thought the story ended when his star gate was stolen are about to learn something very important. That was only the prologue. Alright, chapter 59 is the moment the Lingyun City arc officially closes and Qin Chen finally begins the real journey. And the vibe of this chapter? Departure energy. But before leaving, Qin Chen does one last thing that shows just how ridiculous his resources are. Inside the Qin residence, Qin Chen takes out more than 10 jade bottles and places them on the table. Inside them spirit pills, hundreds of them. Actually more than 1,000 pills in total. Everyone in the room immediately freezes, because in Lingyun City, even a single spirit pill is considered extremely precious. But now Qin Chen just dropped an entire mountain of them like someone emptying grocery bags. Qin Chen immediately feels uneasy, because he understands a very simple rule. A man carrying treasure attracts danger. If news about these pills leaks outside, the Qin family could easily become the target of powerful enemies. But Qin Chen remains completely calm. He says this pile of pills is only a tiny portion of what he possesses, and then he adds something important. Even though these pills are nothing to him, in the eyes of others they are priceless. So everyone here must keep their mouths shut. If even a single word leaks out, the consequences will be severe. The Qin family guards immediately swear loyalty. They even offer to swear poisonous oaths that if they ever reveal the secret, they deserve to die without burial. That might sound dramatic, but honestly, they all know Qin Chen's personality already. The guy casually killed spirit sea experts like he was trimming weeds. Nobody in this room is brave enough to test his patience. Once the pills are distributed and instructions are given, the meeting slowly ends. Soon only 3 people remain in the courtyard: Qin Sheng, King Yuanshan, and Qin Chen. Then Qin Chen suddenly says something unexpected. He asks his father to accompany him to the Lingyun Mountains for a few days, because there is something he needs to show him. King Sheng doesn't really understand why, but he agrees. So over the next month, Qin Chen repeatedly travels between Lingyun City and a hidden valley deep inside the Lingyun Mountains. And that valley? Turns out it was something Qin Chen built thousands of years ago. Back when he was still the legendary 9 Nether Great Emperor, he once created this place as a training ground for the descendants of one of his disciples. Over tens of thousands of years, the place has naturally fallen into some decay. But even so, the formations, traps, and training mechanisms inside are still far beyond anything Lingyun City could normally produce. For the Qin family, this place is basically a secret cultivation paradise, a hidden academy. Qin Chen spends an entire month explaining every formation and mechanism to his father so that after he leaves Lingyun City, Qin Sheng can continue using this place to train the younger members of the clan. By the time everything is finished, the day of departure finally arrives. Outside the Qin residence, the entire family has gathered. Qin Chen stands there wearing a simple white robe, looking calm as always. But the people around him, not so calm, because this goodbye carries a lot of meaning. The eldest brother Qin Chen is injured in the imperial capital. Ling Tian is there. The Heavenly God Academy is there. And the next battlefield is waiting. Qin Chen smiles and tells his father not to worry. Lingyun City is now stable, and Qin Chen only needs to focus on strengthening the clan. As for Qin Chen, he promises to bring back a complete son. At this moment, Qin Chen laughs and corrects him. Not 1 son, 3 sons, because all 3 brothers will return. The conversation lightens the mood for a moment. Then Qin Chen turns to Qin Zinan, who is practically crying like someone just cancelled his favorite show. Qin Chen teases him. "I'm not dying. Why are you crying like this?" Qin Zinan sniffs and says he just doesn't want Qin Chen to leave. So Qin Chen gives him a deal. If Qin Zinan trains hard and masters the Tiger Roar Dragon Chant Fist Qin Chen taught him, then maybe one day he can also enter the Heavenly God Academy. Instantly Qin Zinan's tears disappear. Motivation unlocked. Finally, the moment comes. Qin Chen and Qin Hai step forward. Behind them walks Xiao King, the green ox that has already bullied half the cultivators in Lingyun City. Slowly, the 2 brothers and the ox leave the Qin residence, leave Lingyun City, and just like that, the first chapter of Qin Chen's reborn life ends. But once they are outside the city, Qin Hai stretches his arms and laughs loudly. He says after staying at home for 3 years, his body was practically rusting. Now he finally feels free again. Qin Chen glances at him and notices something. Qin Hai is already close to breaking through to the 9-gate realm. That progress is largely thanks to the Heavenly Fire Spirit Crystal. But Qin Chen warns him, cultivation cannot be rushed. If someone pushes too hard without properly stabilizing their foundation, their future growth could suffer. Qin Hai sighs and admits the truth. He was pushing himself so fast because he was worried about their elder brother. But after hearing Qin Chen speak with such certainty, he finally relaxes. Because if Qin Chen says he will deal with whoever harmed Qin Chen, then that person is probably already halfway to their funeral. The two brothers continue traveling, with Xiao King accompanying them. Most troublemakers on the road wisely choose not to interfere. 10 days pass quickly. At this pace, they will reach the imperial capital in about 5 more days. Now here's the thing about scale. Ling City, with its population of 1 million people, once seemed huge, but compared to the imperial capital, it's basically a village. The imperial capital of the Northern Ming Empire has tens of millions of residents and gathers the strongest warriors from the entire empire. Every major family, every powerful sect, every ambitious genius, they all gather there, which means the stage Qin Chen is heading toward is far bigger than anything before. One night during their journey, the two brothers arrive at a roadside station to rest. The place is quiet, peaceful, until suddenly noise erupts outside. Shouting, chaos, and the sounds of a fight. Qin Chen and Qin Hai exchange a glance. Looks like the road to the imperial capital is about to get interesting again. Alright, chapter 60 begins with Qin Chen and Qin Hai finally getting a quiet night on the road. At least that's what they thought. The two brothers are resting inside a relay station built by the Northern Ming Empire for traveling martial artists. These places normally have strict protection, because they're meant to be safe stops for cultivators moving between cities. So when Qin Hai leans against the window and looks outside, he immediately notices something weird. People are being dragged outside, doors are being kicked open, and masked men are running around like they own the place. Qin Hai squints and mutters something unbelievable. It looks like a robbery. No, someone is literally robbing an imperial relay station, which is the equivalent of robbing a government building. So Qin Hai is confused. Who would be crazy enough to do something like this? He immediately suggests they leave quietly, because if someone dares rob a relay station, it means they're confident they can deal with the consequences. In other words, not the kind of trouble normal travelers should stick around for. But Qin Chen just waves his hand calmly. If they don't provoke us, we ignore them. If they do, then they'll regret being born. And with Qin Chen saying that so casually, Qin Hai just sighs. At this point, he already knows arguing is pointless. But before they can relax again, crash. The window suddenly flies open, and a small head pops inside the room. A little girl. She looks about 6 or 7 years old. Her clothes are torn, her face is dirty, and she looks exactly like a small beggar who has been running around outside all day. But even under the dirt, you can see something strange. Her features are extremely delicate, almost doll-like a porcelain figurine that somehow ended up playing in the mud. The girl doesn't even hesitate. She climbs straight into the room. Qin Hai immediately becomes alert and asks who she is. The girl grins sweetly and introduces herself. Her name is Ling Tian. Then she explains the situation with zero embarrassment. There are bad people outside chasing her. They want to capture her and use her blood to refine pills. So she's hiding, and she asks if the two brothers can let her stay here for a little while. She even blinks her big eyes and tries to look pitiful. At that exact moment, Qin Hai and Qin Chen answer together, but with completely opposite answers. Qin Hai says no. Qin Chen said yes. Now Qin Hai immediately starts worrying. They don't know who this girl is. What if she's some noble family's child? What if hiding her causes more trouble? But Qin Chen just smiles calmly. He says they can figure out whether the people chasing her are bad guys by simply asking them later. And with that logic, Qin Hai is basically forced to accept the situation. So Qin Chen kneels down and starts talking to the girl like the friendly big brother next door. He asks where her home is. The moment she hears the question, her expression changes. Her nose turns red and tears fill her eyes. She says she doesn't have a home anymore. The people chasing her killed her parents. Now she's completely alone. But then Qin Chen asks something very strange. He asks where her real parents are, and the girl freezes, because that question immediately exposes something. She asks Qin Chen how he knows the people who died weren't her biological parents. Did he know her real parents? Qin Chen shakes his head. He doesn't know them, but he says he might be able to help her find them one day. The only problem, it might take a long time. Maybe 10 years, maybe hundreds, maybe even 10,000. The girl immediately collapses onto the floor in despair. She says she can't possibly live that long. In her village, the elderly people die before they even reach 80. By the time she grows old, her parents might already be dead too. She starts mumbling like a tiny old grandma worrying about the future. Then Qin Chen gives her a solution. If she follows him, he can teach her how to cultivate. And cultivation means living much longer. The girl tilts her head. Then she asks if cultivation looks like this. She casually raises her hand. And suddenly, spiritual energy explodes in her palm. A spirit sea appears. Qin Hai almost falls over, because this little girl is displaying spirit sea cultivation at 6 or 7 years old, which is completely insane. But it doesn't stop there. The girl says she can do more. Then she stands up and spiritual energy erupts from her entire body. 1 spirit sea, 3, until finally 9 spirit seas appear around her body. 9. Qin Hai's brain basically stops working. He mutters something about the world collapsing, because he's looking at a child with 9 spirit seas. But Qin Chen doesn't look surprised at all. Instead, he calmly explains the truth. Yes, the girl has 9 spirit seas, but she doesn't actually know how to control them. She simply awakened them naturally. Then Qin Chen says something even more shocking. This girl is a descendant of the 9 nether vermilion bird, a legendary bloodline, which explains why she is so powerful at such a young age. Qin Hai is completely lost. He has no idea what that even means. But before he can ask more questions, the noise outside becomes even louder. The bandits are finishing their sweep of the relay station. Downstairs there are more than 100 masked men, and 2 of their leaders are spirit sea cultivators. They're searching every room, because they need to capture that little girl. One subordinate reports that most rooms have already been cleared, but 3 rooms refuse to open their doors. The leader immediately gives the order, break the doors. They must capture the girl tonight, because this operation is already illegal. They're disguised as bandits, which means they're openly breaking imperial law. If they fail, everyone involved is finished. So several groups rush upstairs, but just before they reach Qin Chen's room, another door bursts open. A young man in purple robes steps out. He looks pale, tired, and slightly arrogant, like someone who spent too much time drinking wine and flirting instead of training. He stretches lazily and looks down at the bandits. Then he asks if they're blind. Can't they see the symbol of the Kai family from Tanshui Commandery on his clothes? The bandits freeze, because that name actually carries weight. The Kai family has strong connections to powerful clans in the imperial capital, and the man introduces himself, Kai Hao, the son of the Kai family patriarch. The bandit leader immediately becomes polite. He apologizes for disturbing Kai Hao's rest, and Kai Hao waves his hand impatiently, then tells them to get lost before he gets angry. And just like that, the atmosphere inside the relay station becomes even more complicated, because now 3 different parties are involved. The mysterious bandits, the arrogant noble young master, and inside one quiet room upstairs Qin Chen, Qin Hai, and a little girl who might secretly be one of the most terrifying bloodline carriers in existence. And somehow Qin Chen looks like the calmest person in the entire building.